I've been sitting here for 6 hours staring at this letter. Katie's handwriting, but not my Katie's handwriting. Similar, but the loops are different. She dots her I's with tiny circles, just like James does. Before I open this, you should know what happened today. My Katie, this timeline's Katie, she called, first time in weeks, said she's been having strange dreams. Dreams where she grows up in a house by the ocean with James. Dreams where she never opens her dance studio because she's too busy working on something called the Convergence Project. At first, I thought the other me was crazy with all her talk of temporal physics, but look. Timeline A. I marry Marco in Rome, 1999. We have Katie in 2000. He disappears in 2010. Timeline B. I marry James in 1964. No Katie, but we prevent some kind of global catastrophe. Timeline C. I marry Marco in 1985. Katie is born in 1986, but James is her godfather. Timeline D. Ugh. The headaches are getting worse. Every time I remember a new timeline, it's like my brain is trying to exist in multiple dimensions at once. But here's what terrifies me. In every timeline where Katie exists, she becomes a dancer. Every single one, except the timeline this letter comes from. Dear Mom, or should I say Dear Moms, by the time you read this, you'll know about the timelines, about James and Marco, about the choice that has to be made at the clock tower. But what you don't know, what none of you know, is that I remember all of it. Every timeline, every version. I'm what they call a convergence point, a person who exists across multiple realities, holding them together. The dance studio was never just a dance studio. Each location in each city, in each timeline, they're nodes. Points where reality is strongest. Places where we can safely observe the damage to the time stream. Marco didn't just disappear, Mom, I helped him leave. Because in the original timeline, the one James is trying so desperately to prevent, something happens in 2026. Something that shatters not just time, but existence itself. The photo in your cafe? The one of you and Marco in Paris? Look behind you in the image. Count to the third person on the left. Oh my God, it's Katie, adult Katie, in 1999 before she was even born. James isn't trying to save the world, Mom. He's trying to save me. In the original timeline, I'm the one who causes the event. My dance, my real dance, was going to tear reality apart. Marco discovered it. James tried to stop it. And you, every version of you, you're caught in the middle. The clock tower in Buenos Aires isn't just a meeting point. It's where I am. The real me, the one who remembers everything. The one who's been waiting for 30 years and also just 5 minutes, depending on which timeline you're counting from. Don't trust the other versions of yourself. Don't trust James. And most importantly, don't trust any version of me that still dances. Love, your Katie. My daughter. My Katie. She's not just part of this. She's the center of it all. Every cup of coffee I've served, every customer I've smiled at, every moment in this cafe. It's all been leading to this. The other me was right. Time is running out, but she was wrong about what we're running from. I'm going to Buenos Aires, not to choose a timeline, not to fix reality. I'm going to save my daughter, every version of her. But first I need to visit her dance studio. Because if what this letter says is true, if Katie really is the key to everything, then I need to see what's really behind all those mirrors. I shouldn't have gone to the studio. I should have. God, how do I even explain what I saw? You never really think about mirrors, do you? How they reflect light, reality, truth. But when you see a mirror reflect something that isn't there, something that can't be there. Well, I used my key to get in after midnight. Katie's studio was dark, quiet, exactly like it always is at night, except all the mirrors were covered with black cloth. Every single one. In 15 years, I'd never noticed that someone covers them every night. I pulled one cloth down, nothing strange, just my reflection. Then another, still normal. But the third mirror showed the studio, but not this version. It showed Katie teaching a class, but she was older, gray-haired, teaching children who moved wrong, like they were dancing to music from another dimension. And James was there, watching, but not our James. A younger version, in a military uniform I didn't recognize. I pulled down another cloth. This mirror showed the studio empty, destroyed, with that symbol from James's business card burned into the floor. Another showed Katie as a little girl dancing with Marco, but not my Marco. This one had different eyes, harder eyes. I started filming. Thought maybe I was hallucinating, you know? But look, no, you can't see it in the recording, just static, but in person. Each mirror showed a different timeline, different versions of my daughter's life, and in every single one she was dancing, always dancing. But not like ballet or jazz or contemporary. This was something else, something mathematical, like she was, calculating with movement. Then I saw it, in the biggest mirror at the back of the studio. Katie, my Katie, the one I raised, performing what the letter called her real dance. But she wasn't alone. There were dozens of her, all moving in perfect synchronization across different mirrors, different timelines, and as they danced, reality rippled, like water when you throw a stone. I could see gaps, spaces between spaces, and through those gaps, there's something out there, something watching us through every reflective surface, something that's been teaching Katie to dance since before she was born. I broke the mirror, had to, because in that last moment, all the Katies turned and looked at me, not just the reflections, every version of her across every timeline, and they spoke, one voice, dozens of mouths. Mom, you're early. The dance isn't ready yet. Reality isn't thin enough. I ran. Of course I ran, but not before I saw James step out of one of the mirrors. He tried to stop me, tried to explain something about temporal choreography and dimensional resonance. But the mirror shard. I grabbed it when I broke free. It's the only proof I have that what I saw was real. But it's changing. Look, the reflection keeps shifting. Sometimes it shows this cafe, sometimes a military bunker, sometimes a dance studio in Buenos Aires. It's like holding a piece of broken time in my hand. The clock tower. That's where Katie said all the mirrors point to. Every reflection, every timeline, every version of my daughter's dance. They're all counting down to that moment in Buenos Aires. I've booked a flight. Tonight. Because now I understand what Marco was trying to tell me 15 years ago. Why he had to run. He wasn't running from James or the temporal adjusters, or even from what he discovered. He was running from what our daughter was becoming, what she was always meant to become. And now I have to decide. Do I stop her? Save her? Or do I let her finish the dance that will tear reality apart? Either way, I'm done being a reflection. It's time to break all the mirrors. I never made it to Buenos Aires. Flight 2613. That should have been my first clue. 26 mirrors in Katie's studio, 13 different reflections of her dancing. But I didn't realize. Didn't see the pattern until we were somewhere over Brazil. The flight was full, completely full. But here's the thing. Every single passenger was a woman in her 40s. Different clothes, different styles, different lives, but all me. 26 versions of Diana Romano, all heading to the same clock tower. The Diana in 13C was a scientist, never married Marco, never had Katie. Dedicated her life to studying temporal physics with James. The one in 17A, she had 3 Katies, triplets, all dancers. 9F lost both Marco and Katie in a car accident. 21B never opened Café Luna. She became a professional dancer herself. We didn't talk at first, just kept stealing glances, all of us recognizing ourselves in each other's faces. But somewhere over the Amazon, the turbulence started. Not normal turbulence, the kind that tears holes in reality. I saw it first in this. The reflection showed the plane, but empty. Then full of different passengers, then underwater. Then I saw what was chasing us. It was Katie, all the Katies, dancing through the sky around our plane. Their movements were tearing open the atmosphere itself, creating windows into other timelines, other flights, other versions of this journey. The Diana in 26F, the last one, the one with the white streak in her hair and burns on her hands, she started screaming. Said she'd seen this before. Said only one plane makes it to Buenos Aires and the others, well, they become part of the dance. We tried to land, Rio, Sao Paulo, anywhere. But the pilots were all James. Different versions, different uniforms, but all him. And they kept flying straight for the storm, straight for the dance. I got out. Don't ask me how. One moment I was in my seat watching reality fracture around us, and the next, I was back here, in my cafe, like I never left. But look at my phone. 47 missed calls, all from myself. Different numbers, different area codes, but all me. Each voicemail is another version, another Diana trying to warn me or asking for help or... Diana, listen. If you're hearing this, you're the one who made it back. That means you're the anchor point, the fixed position. Katie isn't just dancing to break reality, she's dancing to find you, the real you, the original timeline. Don't trust the 25 planes full of Dianas are still up there, trapped in Katie's dance. But I made it back. Why me? What makes this timeline the anchor point? Unless this was never about getting to Buenos Aires. Maybe it was about getting all the wrong versions out of the way, clearing the board for whatever happens next. The cafe is different, small things. The photos shifted slightly. The coffee beans are a different brand. The mirror behind the counter, it's not reflecting the room anymore, it's reflecting, I don't know. If you're watching this, if you find this recording, don't look in the mirrors, don't count the other versions of yourself. And whatever you do, don't go to Buenos Aires, because I don't think I'm the Diana who started recording these videos, and I don't think this is my Café Luna anymore. The cafe was never just a cafe. Marco didn't choose this location because of the foot traffic or the rent or the charming architecture. He chose it because of what's underneath. What's always been underneath, since before the city existed. See this? 1887, before any of these buildings. Just an empty lot with a strange circular pattern burned into the ground. The indigenous people wouldn't build here. Called it the place where time pools. The Spanish missionaries marked it on their maps as El Ojo del Tiempo, the Eye of Time. 26 tables. I always thought Marco was obsessed with their placement. Had to be exactly right, down to the inch. Because they're not just tables, they're markers. Points on a map of something much bigger. Katie's dance studio? It's directly above us. Her mirrors align perfectly with these tables, and when you connect them all, it's the same pattern her dancers make, the same symbol on James's business card, the same design that appears in every timeline in every version of reality. But here's what I just discovered, the shard. It doesn't show reflections anymore. It shows truth. And when I look at my cafe through it, the tables aren't tables. They're more like anchors, holding something down, keeping it from... Oh no, it's starting. Can you feel it? The vibrations? That's Katie. All the Katies. Their dance is reaching critical mass. The other cafes are appearing, dozens of them layered over each other like transparent photographs, different versions, different timelines, but all in exactly the same spot. Because this place, this cafe, it's a lid, a seal. Marco built it to contain whatever's beneath us, the thing that's been trying to break through since the beginning of time, the thing Katie's dance is trying to. Someone's here, but the cafe's closed and the sign is turned. Unless... Marco? Oh no, not Marco. Me. The other me, the one from Flight 2613, the one who never made it back, and she's dancing. If you're watching this, if you find these recordings, you need to understand, Café Luna isn't just its name. Luna, the moon. The thing that pulls at tides, at time, at reality itself, and now. Now the dance is complete, the seal is breaking, and what's underneath is finally waking up. I have to go. Have to get to Katie before. Wait! The blueprint. Look at the date. Tomorrow. The blueprint is dated tomorrow, which means I'm not the Diana who started these recordings, and she's not the Diana who's going to finish them. I understand now. This was never about Marco or James or even Katie. It was about me. All of me. Every version, every timeline, every possibility. We're not just copies or alternates. We're attempts. The universe trying over and over to get it right. These recordings, they're not confessions. They're a map, a guide for the next Diana. Because there's always a next one, always another try, until we finally get it right. 26 Dianas on Flight 2613, 26 tables in the cafe, 26 mirrors in Katie's studio, but there was always one more, wasn't there? The original. Patient Zero. The Diana who started it all. Me. I remember everything now. Not just my memories, all of our memories. The Diana who married Marco, the one who married James, the scientist, the dancer, the temporal agent. We're all echoes of the first Diana, the one who discovered what lies beneath this cafe. It's not a monster down there. It's not some cosmic horror trying to break free. It's time itself, raw, pure, unformed, and it's dying. Katie figured it out first. In every timeline she knew. The dance wasn't meant to destroy reality, it was meant to save it. By bringing all the timelines together, all the Dianas, all the attempts, she was trying to find the one combination that works, the one that keeps time alive. They're coming. All of them. Every Diana, every James, every Marco, following Katie's dance to this moment, this place, this final try. But they don't know what I know now. Why this cafe had to be here. Why Marco chose this spot. Why James has lived the same decades over and over. Time isn't dying, it's being born, and we're all part of the labor. The other Dianas think we need to close the seal, stop the dance, keep everything contained, but they're wrong. We don't need to stop it, we need to join it. Katie wasn't just dancing, she was teaching us. All of us, how to move between moments, between possibilities, how to weave time into something new. I can see them all now. Every Diana, every choice, every possibility. We're not multiple versions of the same person. We're one person finally becoming whole. If you're watching this, if you're the next Diana, don't fight it. Don't run. Don't try to make sense of it all. Just dance. Marco knew. James knew. Katie always knew. It was never about the cafe or the mirrors or the timelines. It was about learning to let go, to stop trying to fix time and simply become it. I'm not going to Buenos Aires. I'm not running anymore. Because I am every Diana who ever lived, who ever will live, who ever could live. And we all finally know how to dance. Welcome to Café Luna. What can I get you?